Good morning. Okay, good morning. I would like to thank you all for accepting our invitation to come and attend the MIECTI's 10 years anniversary meeting. I hope we'll have a very nice 2 days scientific sessions plus social activities as well. And now we move forward to a literature review. So what we know that MIEC is associated with improved clinical results, but you know that we also keep an eye always on the literature. And if we do not produce results published, then we're not going to increase penetration of minimally invasive extracorporeal circulation in other countries in the global perfusion community. So I would like to introduce Dr. Christos Voucharas and to make a literature review of mainly what happened after 2015 with minimally invasive extracorporeal circulation, and then we will have a lot of comments and discussion. Okay, thank you.
Esteemed members of the MIEC Society, dear guests, the position paper is a consensus document developed during the expert consensus meeting in Thessaloniki in 2014. It promoted the creation of a common language between cardiac surgeons, anesthesiologists, and perfusionists, thus collated comparable results for several studies. An update was necessary, was applied to cover all developments. Before 2015, the terminology was not unified. To be characterized as MIEC, the main components of the system must include the following criteria: a closed circuit, inert blood contact surfaces, reduced priming volume, a centrifugal pump, and setback management system. The milestone years for MIEC literature are 2004 as well as 2014. We hope that the anniversary year, 2024, will mark the beginning of a new chapter in our literature. We are now working on creating a database that includes all research related to MIEC, either before 2015 or after 2015, as long as it fulfills the criteria of MIEC. Until that time, we have conducted a comprehensive literature search using PubMed and Scopus databases. Separate analyses were performed for publications before 2015 and after 2015. Search terms including the following 25 terms. Publications concerning mini-CPB can be categorized into those published before and after 2015 until the present. There were 310 papers before 2015 and 450 papers after 2015. Referring exclusively to MIEC are 110 papers. Meta-analyses represent the most relevant forms of scientific evidence, so they are considered separately from other research. All these 6 meta-analyses that were published after 2015 include randomized controlled trials published mainly before 2015. Kowalewski, Winkler, and Cheng published both mini-CPB and MIEC research. One has done a meta-analysis of valve surgery. Mainly randomized controlled trials and to a lesser degree observational studies were used. These studies were conducted mainly before 2015. 5,500 mini-CPB or MIEC patients operated on MIEC were compared to an equal number of patients operated on conventional ECC. And nearly 2,000 patients operated on mini-CPB or MIEC were compared to 1,400 patients operated on OPCAB. So articles published since 2015 published on PubMed or Scopus and concern MIEC are 110. Countries with the highest contributions to publications are Germany, Switzerland, Italy, Greece, followed by England, the United States, and Canada. Cities with highest contributions are Thessaloniki, with 13 publications, Bern, 12 publications, followed by Bari, Braunschweig, Ulm, Basel, Ancona, Coswig, Regensburg. The types of the articles are clinical trials, about 40%. Clinical trials typically follow a structured protocol. Clinical research, about 30%. Editorial or a position paper, 8%. A review, 5.5%. An opinion paper, 4.5%. 3 guideline articles, 2 case report and 1 case series article, practical technique, 3 articles, a comment or reply, 2, and 1 protocol for study. The types of the study were comparative MIEC, comparative to conventional ECC, 41, randomized control trials, 25, retrospective studies, 25, propensity match analysis, 10, comparative to OPCAP, OFPAM, 4, 3 experimental studies, 2 multi-center trials, and 1 trial MIEC comparative to TAVI. The topics of the articles of the research was mainly mortality and morbidity, 77, hematology, that means transfusion needs, or coagulation, 21, valve or combined operations, 19, inflammatory response, 15, new devices, myocardial protection, pharmacology, the elderly, cerebral or cognitive, 5, atrial fibrillation, renal function, physiology of the circulation, minimal invasive procedures, diabetic, new techniques, pediatric surgery, circulation support, reoperations, accidental hypothermia support, quality of life, and cost effectiveness. All the articles gained 1,258 citations. Guideline articles had a higher percentage of citations per article. However, guideline articles do not exclusively focus on MIEC. These are the most cited papers, the most cited articles. We can see that the opinion, the position paper is leading with 177 publications, followed by Dr. Boulos, is Mrs. Boulos, pharmaceutical during anesthesia and inflammatory response, Professor El-Essawi and his colleagues, Dr. Ranucci, Dr. Sardou, Dr. Bauer, said blood separation, Professor Anastasiadis, and the others, the more physiologic strategy for cardiac surgery, Professor Anastasiadis again, the state of the art in perfusion. We can see that if the article describes a new topic, a new approach, or an original technique, then it gains more citations. And of course, older articles have more citations. There are 13,000 patients operated on MIEC. 8,000 patients operated on MIEC were collated to 7,500 patients operated on conventional ECC or OPCAB. The leading author was a cardiac surgeon in 59 articles, an anesthesiologist in 22, a perfusionist 20, a cardiologist in 2. There are 6 medical doctors with another discipline and 1 statistician, not a medical doctor. We believe women in science, in medicine, are crucial to building a better future for the whole humanity. Women make up 18% of the first authors of medical research articles about MIEC. Most papers were published in the Perfusion Journal, followed by Journal of Thoracic Diseases, European Journal of Cardiothoracic Surgery, Artificial Organs, Journal of Cardiothoracic Surgery, Interactive Cardiovascular and Thoracic Surgery, Annals of Thoracic Surgery, Journal of Extracorporeal Technology, the Thoracic and Cardiovascular Surgeon, Internal Journal of Cardiology, Journal of Clinical Medicine. Randomized controlled trials are the highest form of evidence-based medicine in individual studies. There are 17 randomized controlled trials where MIEC is compared to conventional ECC, 3 compared to optimized ECC, and 2 compared to OPCAM, to off-pub surgery. There are 5 randomized controlled trials that are exclusively MIEC, all MIEC, and there is a comparison between other topics: anesthesia, ACT, duration of estimation, venous cannula, and pulsativity. 1,267 patients were operated, 65 patients were operated on MIEC. MIEC proved favorable in 11 trials. There were comparative results in 9 trials, while 4 trials had a small sample size. For the history, 2 were favorable for MIEC, and 2 trials were with comparable results. We can see that randomized controlled trials have gained more citations per article than when compared with all types of articles. It seems that authors tend to reference RCTs more frequently in their articles compared to other types of studies. More cited randomized controlled trials, we can see Dr. Bulus and Dr. Bauer at the top again, Dr. Baumbach, Professor Anastasiadis again with operational learning, Dr. Nguyen about inflammatory response. Most publications of RCTs appeared in 2016. The pandemic period is reflected in the years 2022 and 2023, which had minimal activity. Every single article published is of great importance. However, we can recall some particular articles published throughout these years. The paper, the position paper, appeared in PubMed in 2016. However, it was developed at the consensus meeting in Thessaloniki in 2014. All the benefits that MIEC offers constitute a more physiologic perfusion. MEX significantly improves quality of life after coronary surgery compared with conventional CPB. Coronary artery bypass surgery with the use of MEX is associated with a mortality rate comparable to the overall life expectancy of the general population. The MEX concept has shown its benefits regarding octogenarians, either for CABG or aortic valve replacement. Safe ACT duration during MEX procedures. This is a propensity match study with 5,000 patients compared to conventional circuits. Minimized bypass use in coronary artery bypass surgery is associated with lower mortality and less postoperative renal failure. The use of modular MEX secures safety and ensures technical feasibility in all cardiac surgical procedures. The MEX focused update. It is the current expert consensus document and offers an update in areas for which new evidence has emerged. We all expect the COMEX trial's conclusions with great interest. There exists a wide spectrum for additional research and the dissemination of its findings. There is a diverse range of topics to explore. We all believe that MEX is worth it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for the very, very nice and concise presentation of the literature. So I will keep two numbers. It's 110 publications since 2015 and 25 randomized controlled trials. So I would like to open the discussion to the commentators. Professor Anastasiadis first, whether these two numbers can actually, how do they promote MEX and what can we actually do to increase the number? That's the point.
Well, thank you. I've made some notes from what I have heard, and I would just share it with you without comments. First of all is that we have about 11 papers per year after the society, all of them referring to MEX. This is a good number, and also these papers are referring to 14,000 patients being operating on MEX. 8,000 of them been randomized, and this is also a very, very good result. Regarding randomized control trials, as been said, 25 of them, 17 are comparing with conventional CPB, and 3 of them are comparing OPEC to MEX. And the good thing about all these trials is none of these indicating inferiority of MEX. And this is something that has to be emphasized. 11 studies have confirmed superiority and 9 same result, non-inferiority. Regarding the topics, it is clear that technique is the first, but we have 20% hematology. This is a clear message for the anesthesiologists that when you are trying to do some research and you have MEX on board, this is a great base of start doing any kind of research, and especially about ACT, about bleeding, about all hematological parameters. As far as the citation, again to anesthesiologists, it seems that the highest ranking is about dexmedetomidine in using MEX. So this is actually another very big topic that seems that it's very interesting in the literature because it attracted a lot of citations. Finally, I would say that striking evidence that we found from this very nice summary that Dr. Voucharas has given us is that COVID years actually collapsed the research activity. And as you see here now, we need to restart because after COVID situation is different and we need to refresh. And I hope from the society that would be on the occasion of comics trial result, that would be maybe next month. And also by some initiatives that we have trying to bring in the forefront the interest of the scientists. So these are what I have highlighted from this presentation. Thank you.
Definitely. So I would like to ask John, with his vast experience in not only in publishing is the last, but in producing new evidence. So which areas do you feel that they need to be promoted in terms of providing the field for publication? So what do you think?
Well, I think firstly, some of the very important things that have come out of all of the prior publications, first of all, was the ability to define the various types of mixed systems. I think it was very important, and similarly, to come up with a workable definition of conventional cardiopulmonary bypass. And those of you involved in these areas know that this has been very controversial. So I think those are very important steps to be able to make sure we're sort of comparing apples and apples. So that's helped to get us to this point. The other thing that stood out to me was the fact that this is a multidisciplinary society, and I think that's one of its real strengths because we're getting perspectives from all of the different disciplines: surgery, obviously, perfusion, anesthesia, as well as industry. So I think that's allowed us to have a very comprehensive and very varied perspective on aspects of managing patients with these types of circuits. And that's shown in the literature that I think it was 50% approximately of the paper. 50 papers were originated by surgery, 20-something were anesthesia, 20-something perfusion. So I think these are all very important strengths. And I think we're almost on the verge. As I say, we're all very aware of the impact of COVID, what that did to recruitment, certainly for the comics trial and some of the other studies that were ongoing, that really caused a challenge to get the recruitment for these papers. But I think moving forward now, I think there's evidence in the literature in all of the disciplines of the benefits. And as Professor Anastasiadis commented, none of the studies have shown detriment. And so you're either starting, it's at least as good as, or potentially significantly better than our conventional approaches. So I think we're, as I say, we're waiting now for the publication of the comics trial and the ongoing, the new study that's underway.
Yeah.
I think very, very good timing.
Okay, thank you, John. Now, El-Essawi is a cardiac surgeon that is one of them, one who had contributed with one of the best randomized control trials that have been done in the first era before the definition of MIEC, and a few studies afterwards that clearly create the basis for penetration, for increasing presentation of MIEC. So Ashraf, what do you think about the literature review and the production?
I think that it's very astonishing. It's like a puzzle that you can't figure out. Every time you think you've got a new idea where the problem lies, because obviously we are sitting here, we're very convinced about this technology, we've done a lot of studies, we often repeat that we might be lacking evidence, but honestly I don't think we are lacking evidence. We are lacking persuasion, we are lacking commitment, maybe we're not selling the STEAM approach sufficiently. It is astonishing that a society like ours, where we don't differentiate, we want everyone on board. We still see that 50% of publications come from cardiac surgeons. You would expect that anesthesiologists, perfusionists would be more interested. And we have done, we've not only done a lot of things, good things, we have done some mistakes as well. And we have to confront the mistakes that we did. For instance, we are very, very fond of our classification. And we think that it changed literature, it made things more understandable, more comparable. However, one of the problems of our classification is, what are type 4 systems? Most people do not understand what is the difference between a type 4 system and an optimized conventional system. For instance, what we lacked is, we should have just said these are reservoir optional systems. Reservoir optional systems defines it. It doesn't have a reservoir, but you have a plan B, you can integrate a reservoir. Now we're going into studies before 2015 and after 2015. You just mentioned that I was primary investigator of one of the largest, before comics era, prospective randomized studies. Well, this was a type 4 system used in 2010. It is, again, very astonishing that the second most cited publication was on Dextor. That shows that the interest in Dextor is greater than the interest in MEAC. And this is something, a shift of concept that we didn't seize yet. We didn't understand. We were often criticized at the beginning that we're trying to sell it as a physiology, as a philosophy, that we were told that we're overcomplicating things. We try to get more people on board, simplifying things. If you look at ERAS programs, enhanced recovery after cardiac surgery, they're on vogue, hot topics, everybody's interested, but it's exactly going in the same direction. It is multiple disciplinary, multi-modular approaches going all into the same direction, which is optimum outcome, improving the outcome for patients. Obviously, they're getting more momentum behind that issue than behind MEAC systems. MEACs must be one of the pillars of ERAS programs. If you look at ERAS programs, they always speak about optimized systems. I can't remember guidelines. Yes, they mention MEAC as an important pillar, but I cannot remember reading any single ERAS paper within the last years which really mentioned that they're using a MEAC in their ERAS program. So there are a lot of opportunities there that obviously we've not concentrated on.
So, Serdar, I invite you to close the session with your statement as an author of many papers.
First of all, that was a great wrap-up. Thank you very much. So I always believe in the modification of surgeons' idea, because we always talk about the training of, simulation or whatever. So the decision maker is unfortunately the surgeon. So I believe we need to train surgeons first. And so dealing with the high interest in minimally invasive cardiac surgery is a good alternative for us to move on to combine with MEAC plus mix. And so, for example, the criticism is always going on the power of any of those studies. Okay, overall, we compare 6,000 versus 6,000, but most of the studies include 20 patients, 30 patients, 50 patients. So it's not easy to show any clinical differences in the outcomes. And so, as Ashraf said, the change of the idea from the volume-based cardiac surgery to value-based cardiac surgery, it's a very good time to promote MEAC now. Because as he said, ERAS programs are all trying to include MEAC. You cannot see in the papers because all the ERAS Cardiac Society Executive Board is American. They don't use me now in the US. So this is the main idea. So we are trying to change this idea, but I was in the guideline group, so I really worked hard to put the name in the guideline. So, so that would be a good option for us to move on to overcome the criticism in the power analysis or the outcomes. So, and combination of MEAC and mix will be the feature, I believe.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have to end the session and move to the next, to the anesthesiology session. Thank you for attending. And I would like to invite the moderators, John Murkin, to stay on the podium, to stay on the board, together with Dr. Hayek from Olomouc, and actually coordinate the next session. Thank you.